Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone. I hope everyone's doing well. This is a long overdue video, something that I wanted to do back in March of this year. But because of the pandemic and everything else that has been strange and depressing this year, I decided to wait until this milestone in my YouTube career hit. And I don't really like to call it, I guess, a career, but it is a milestone, and it's something that I'm very proud of. Today I've officially hit 10 years of doing content on this channel. When I started doing content back in September of 2010, it was just sort of a way to showcase some of the things I had. At that point, my wife and I had been in this house for about a year. We looked at this place as not only, you know, an investment. Both of us were doing really well career-wise when we bought it, but we also looked at it as a place to have a family, to raise children in. And the next 10 years would be very trying for us in many ways. This room, I just asked my wife if I could have a room where I could showcase some of the collectibles I had in storage when we were living in our apartment. This room has grown into so much more than that. It is my time capsule, it is my safe zone, and it's crazy to think that a room full of collectibles and toys and posters and autographs from various horror celebrities that I've had the honor of meeting have meant so much to me and have saved me from so many times where I felt like I was going off the deep end. To give you a little history of what's happened in my life over the last 10 years and why this room came to be, like I said, when we first moved in, I had several collectibles, and you know, there was not anything to the degree you see now. Horror collectibles were not as mass marketed as they are now. There was a few niche companies back then. You had NECA, of course. You have Mezco. Prior to that, you had the McFarlane toys, McFarlane Movie Maniacs, which I had. You also had some of the Spencer Gift motion, you know, Jason and Michael Myers, which I had. I was a big comic book collector as well, so, you know, this was the room to house all of my things, you know, all the things that I loved. I had the extra space now. We were living in a one-bedroom prior to this, so I was able to sort of spread things out and make this room my own. It wasn't until after I started sort of being exposed to YouTube, and I don't know what drew me to it, I can't remember. I just know that at the time my wife and I were both working in San Francisco, and sometimes, you know, I would find videos or music videos on YouTube. I was watching a video showcasing some Jason Voorhees collectibles that I had, specifically some of the Sideshow collectibles, like the Sideshow Jason Lives figure and the New Blood figure. And that person showcasing them was my friend Chris. He went by CCG 1171. He hasn't done videos in a number of years. But I was fascinated by this man. He never showed himself on camera except for maybe a handful of times. Most of the time it was just focusing on the item itself. And I was amazed by some of the things in his collection because there were things I didn't even know existed. I started seeking out some of these collectibles that CCG had been showcasing, specifically Friday the 13th collectibles, and I started slowly adding a few things here to the room. And things started to go south for us in 2010. And I had dabbled in doing a few YouTube videos of my own prior, but they just really didn't turn out very well. But in early 2010, my wife lost her job. We both worked for the same company at the time. We both worked for StubHub.com, and we had both been there nearly 6 years when this was all going down. The after effects of the Great Recession, even though, you know, it was technically sort of over, the after effects, the aftershocks of what had happened were starting to be felt by my company. And they started, you know, downsizing, and my wife was a casualty of that. And I really took it hard. It was really a difficult time for me because I was responsible for our finances, I was responsible for paying our bills, and knowing that we were going to be losing money after we had sunk so much into the home really got me depressed. I ended up taking a job. I ended up leaving StubHub myself in fear that I was going to lose my job, and I took a job with a company I first started out working for. I was finishing up college, and I had some friends that still worked there, and I got a job. It was much closer to home, but the new job was not what I thought it was going to be, and I ended up getting more depressed. That was around the time when I started going to conventions more. So I started going to like comic book conventions where horror celebrities would be. That's where I met CJ Graham for the first time. There was also one where I met Derek Mears, who had played Jason in Friday the 13th reboot. And then I started saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing a few more videos. And the first one I did was the Terror of Crystal Lake statue, which was a sideshow item that I had pre-ordered many months earlier, before everything started going down with our careers, my wife and I. And when I got it, I decided to do a video kind of following in the footprints of what CCG had done. I just focused on the collectible itself. The video is quite horrible, and I don't recommend people seeking it out, but, you know, it's the first one I officially did, and, you know, from there I just started doing more videos every so often. It would be like when I picked up a horror collectible, or I met a horror celebrity, or I was talking about a horror movie I just saw. 2011 was a very trying year. Not only was my wife unemployed, but then I was in danger of losing my job because the company I had moved to decided to close up shop here close to where I live and move everything to Rochester, New York. And I wasn't about to travel to New York. This coincided with my grandfather's passing away. Both my grandfathers died in 2011, and I had had a falling out with my father. So I kind of sunk all of my creative free time into this channel. And even though my wife and I were strapped for cash, and this isn't the smartest move I ever made, I would still seek out and buy toys and Fright Rags t-shirts and things like that because I was depressed and I needed something to cheer me up, to make me happy, and the only thing I knew how to do at the time was to buy things. But that year, 2011, I started doing a lot more videos. I started getting more creative. I started having people reach out to me and ask me to review films that they had done. You know, it was kind of nice, and I started getting some recognition, some nice feedback, and it really made me feel like people were warming up to what I was doing. 2012 started even worse because I lost my job like a week into the new year, so I was unemployed for 4.5 months. With my wife and I both being unemployed, and our unemployment barely covering what the mortgage was for this house, I ended up having to liquidate my 401k, and that eventually led me to be in debt for the next 7 years. It was very depressing. During that time, between 2012 and 2016, we lost all hope of ever having children because my wife had 2 miscarriages. So all of our plans, everything that we thought was going to work out, things that we thought would eventually come to be, didn't happen. And it was the cold realization that sometimes things just aren't fair. And after my wife's last miscarriage, I lost my job at the cookware company that I got in 2012. And I was unemployed again for a little while. I eventually was employed again, but after that I went into a severe depression, really badly, like to a point where I did go and seek therapy. Since that time, for the last couple of years though, even with the pandemic going on right now, I've slowly come to realize who I am and found myself. I don't know how. I think I just finally was able to let the past be the past and accept that sometimes the things you plan for in life don't always go the way you think they're going to. 10 years ago, I thought I knew exactly where I was going to go, career-wise, family-wise. I thought I knew everything that was going to happen. And, you know, I had my roadmap of where things were going to go, and it didn't play out that way. And my wife and I both have had to just accept that. But during those times, the 10 years, when I think back to 10 years of stress and sadness, and this room, this horror zone, this channel has really been what saved me. I think being creative, talking about the things that I love, sharing, meeting some amazing people. I've met some amazing people through this channel, and I'm forever grateful that I've had the experiences that I've had. And when I think back to those trying times, and even the times that we find ourselves in now, I mean, 2020 has been a very depressing year. But for some reason, I haven't really let it get to me. And I don't know if I could have said the same a couple years ago. I was really in bad shape 2 years ago. And despite the pandemic, despite some of the depressing things that have happened this year, I've relatively stayed centered. I've tried to just focus on the positive. I feel like in life, we're always going to have challenges. And I feel like it's usually things that we can't foresee taking place. It's something that we never would have expected. Who would have expected this pandemic to happen the way it has? I sure as hell didn't. This year started with so much promise, and I thought it was going to be a great year. And that's why I just constantly have to stay positive, because I've been to hell and back. I've been to hell and back financially, career-wise, and I know now there's so many people that are depressed and scared, and this is going to come to a resolution. Things will go back to normal. I think they'll be different, but I think we will go back to a normal society. I don't know when that's going to be, but for some reason, I still have hope, and I still have faith in things will work themselves out. And I'm grateful that this horror zone has existed, because even during these times, I mean, when everything locked down in March, I knew that there was going to be people that were going to be really depressed. And I luckily was able to retain my job and still work from my home for the last 6 months. But I knew there was going to be people that were going to need an outlet. So I tried to do as much as possible, and I had a lot of fun doing some of the content that I did earlier this year. And I still think some of the videos that I've done this year are some of the best ones I've ever done. And I'm always proud of what I put out there. I always put my full effort into it. I never half-ass it. And it means a lot that people check it out. Even if I get 50 to 100 people that watch it, it means more to me than anything. I'm not looking at this from a revenue generating standpoint. I'm not looking at this from I'm not looking at this as a career. This is an outlet. This is something where I can reach out and talk to people. And I'm so grateful that I have friends that are here in the States or across the pond and in Europe, and I've had friends that are in Australia. I mean, it's so amazing that I've been able to reach people with what I do, because I've always felt like the oddball. I've always felt odd growing up. I was the weird guy that liked the scary movies and things like that, and going to Catholic school, and a lot of my peers just weren't into this stuff. So the fact that I have friends that I know will always support me, and I'll always support them, and they consistently tune in and give me shout outs and things like that, that means more to me than any monetary value. It just that connection means so much to me. And I've been able to stay focused through all of this. And the horror zone represents me. This is me that you guys are seeing. I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. I've always been a no bullshit type of person. I'm honest. I love this channel, and I love what I do, and hopefully I get to do it for a lot longer. I know that YouTube is a very different beast than it was when I was first starting out. As long as YouTube doesn't do something to fuck my channel up, I will always be here. And the horror zone has saved me, and this room means so much to me, and the people that watch mean so much to me. And I didn't want to just do a video showing everything in the room, because I think I don't feel like I could make that interesting. So I thought talking about how this room came to be, what was the inspiration, and what it means to me and why it's so important was a good focus for not only the history of the room, but also my anniversary here on YouTube. The fact that I made it to 10 years really means a lot. So thanks again so much everyone for watching. I hope everyone's doing well. Please feel free to leave comments down below, and if you have any suggestions for things that you would like me to focus on in some future content, please feel free to share those, because I always look forward to feedback from my viewers and my friends. Appreciate all the support, and I promise there's some great stuff coming very soon. So take it easy, stay scared as always. Peace. I want to thank everyone for taking this time to drop by the Horror Zone. It really means a lot to me that people are supporting what I do here. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below. I upload videos at least once or twice a week. It would really mean a lot if people would spread the word about this channel. This is a passion of mine. I love the horror genre, and I'm really happy to share my love of it with all of you. So thanks so much again for checking it out. I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.